live. Today I have the honor of interviewing Block Forever, a dope MC from the Bronx. He's been grinding for years, and he just dropped a new EP entitled No Drums 2. It came out on the 4th of July, and we're going to bring him in and talk to him about his new EP and his incredible discography. Let's bring him in.
Yeah. What's going on?
Peace, my brother. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you, man. I sat down the other day and watched a bunch of your interviews, so now I kind of know what I'm in store for.
Yeah, no, I do that too. You know what I'm saying? Like I watched your interviews. You know what I'm saying? Like on the interview. Oh yeah, look at that. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope, my bro. Hey man, let's jump into this new joint that you dropped on the 4th of July. You added extra fireworks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Talk to us about No Drums 2.
Well, No Drums 2, we were that's with a producer that I've known since 2019. He's a good friend of mine now. We worked up a relationship, and we actually have many songs. We have a whole nother album in the stash that we're not going to release yet. But I did No Drums 1 2 years ago. And I got a decent response, and a lot of people were, they thought it was different. They were like, "That's dope." So one day we were sitting down, and he was like, "Hey, man, I want to do No Drums 2."
Yeah.
And I said, "All right, cool." And we did that album in like a month.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Now the No Drums phenomenon, because your discography is dope, and you've got like boom bap and classic golden era bar heavy. You know what I'm saying? What made you kind of lean towards the No Drums production? Was it just like you had enough tracks that started to come together and you went in that direction, or is it talk to us about the idea?
Well, the idea came. Well, I always had the idea because I don't know if anybody remember. Most hip hop heads do. Prodigy dropped the album before he went to jail called "Return of the Mac" produced by The Alchemist, and that album is always in the back of my mind. I still play it in the car. And then I started listening to Rock Marciano again, and I knew him when he was with Flip Mode back in the day. So and it just kind of gave me that vibe, and I started kind of searching for producers who can do that. And I kind of took that one slow. I did that one in about like 6 months. It was first time go. But yeah, that really I'm going to say it. Prodigy Return of the Mac album is what always had that style of music sitting in the back of my head.
So, and it's amazing that he was so early with that idea.
It's
right?
Crazy. It's crazy. I love that album. I like his HNIC albums, but that one to me was my favorite. I related to that one more.
That's good, man. That's good. So, when we talk about your career right now, maybe cats are discovering you because you've been so prolific and dropping a lot of projects. Puerto Rican Jesus and the No Drums, and you know what I'm saying? Like you're working, right? You got stuff coming, the stuff you got coming with Team Demo, right? Like we're gonna talk about all the work you're putting in. But your career really, you've been on the grind and working with heavyweights for a long time.
Yeah.
If you could give us a little bit of the backstory of like when you connected with Murder Inc., Ruff Ryders, and that kind of early era.
Okay, well the Murder Inc. situation was really I used to work at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York, and one of the guys that I worked with knew them, and he was an older guy. I was maybe like 19, 20, and he knew them, and he was like, "Yo, I got this dope Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx," and he had heard my music. I had already been recording. I dropped my first mixtape when I was 16, so I had already, by the time I was 19, I had a decent amount of music, and he wanted to become my manager. So we did that, and It was like more of a development kind of situation. Yeah. And they had me around for a little bit, but then their beefs with 50 and the indictment and things like that kind of like everything kind of just washed out. Everybody kind of just disappeared, and then I moved on, and then I had a friend of mine who was the head stunt rider for Rough Riders in the Bronx, the motorcycle club.
Yeah. And the actual Rough Riders.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like the real. So I was out there with Rough Riders that are not rappers.
Yeah.
So yeah, then they put me on. I did a few songs for some this was the DVD era.
Yeah.
So like stunt bike DVDs. I had music in the backgrounds of all their DVDs, and we had a couple meetings, but it just didn't pan out. And I just kind of continued on my own until I moved to Florida.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, what's so interesting is, like, you know, obviously when you were younger, you wanted Murder Inc. or Rough Riders, one of those to pop off. But in a lot of ways, they really were development. I mean, that helped you develop into the artist that you are.
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot. I ended up getting some decent like I had features with I did a song with T-Pain and Loon before anybody who knew T-Pain was, you know, and it was a good experience. I learned how to do, you know, I learned how to write hooks.
Yeah.
It became more musical than rapper. You know, it was like, I was a rapper, but they showed me how to make that. Not even showed me. I just kind of played the background and just paid attention, and I learned how to make songs. Like actual songs.
Like you were in the major environments, and you could like absorb and soak all that up.
Definitely. I was 18 years old at a studio in downtown Manhattan, and I said, "Hey, where can I smoke a cigarette at?" And they said, "Oh, you go to the staircase." I go to the staircase. The whole state property is there. Beanie Siegel, Petey Crack, Oskino. They like, "What's up?" And I ended up rapping for them. They were like, "Yo, you dope," and things like that. I've been around. That's why the year before last, I dropped an album called "If He's a Legend, Then What Am I?"
Yeah.
And that album was more, I don't want to say commercial records, but they were a little less boom bap-ish. I tried my hand in a few things, and that album was a result of all the things I've done. I was like, you know what? If he's a legend, then what am I? I got songs with some of the greats. So
yeah. Speaking of some of the greats, you know, somebody that was close to you that passed away. Yeah. Rest in peace, Fred the Godson.
Fred the Godson. That's my big bro. He good dude.
Yeah, man. Can you talk to us about, you know, your relationship with him and how that tied into music?
I actually met him. He had moved from he lived on it was Fox, right? 156 in Fox Street. My partner Hip Hop on the Gram actually grew up with him also.
That's dope.
Yeah, he moved to my block, and I knew who he was again because of the whole DVD era. This was before YouTube. Like none of us could afford computers anyway. So
before we could do everything on our phones.
Exactly. And honestly, I walked up to him. I used to always, I was a runner in my neighborhood, so I'd be on my bike back and forth, going here and there, right? As a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And I saw him, and I pulled up on him on a pedaling bike. And I said, "You Fred the Godson, right?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I just moved here." I said, "Yo, I rap too." You know, I'm 14, so you know.
Yeah.
I literally had my notebook in my back, like I had it in my waistband. I pulled it out, flipped a couple pages, and I just went off at 14 years old. And ever since then, he just kept me. He was like, "Yo," he took my house number. This is when he had landlines.
You had landlines.
And he would call me. He'd be like, "Where you at?" I'm like, "Oh, you know, I'm home doing nothing." He's like, "Come down, let's write." And I would sit there and write with him. All those, me and Fred probably have like 20 songs that have been written together, hooks and everything, that some were recorded, some were not. I wish I had that notebook still, but
yeah, you get moved, you put it somewhere, you move, and then it's like somewhere.
Yeah. And he pretty much just kept, you know, I became family. Like I know his parents, his dad, his brothers, you know, I became family, and I was just always around. He took me everywhere.
That's dope. Rest in peace, Fred the Godson. Such a dope MC, man. Such a dope MC.
Definitely.
There's a track that you're on with him that's also with somebody else that was a loss to hip hop in general, which was Black Rob. The Like Whoa. How did that joint come together? What a classic record to be a part of.
All right, so that record initially was China Mac is actually on that. China Mac has the first verse.
Yeah, China Mac.
You know, China Mac is an internet sensation now, YouTube sensation.
Yeah.
So I actually got that beat was made by a guy. I lived in Reading, Pennsylvania for a year.
I know about
and I met a producer.
Reading is tough, bro. Reading's like a little New York.
Yeah, it was. I would have moved back
Philly.
there. You know,
it's like a little Philly.
Yeah, it's like a smaller Philly. There's a lot of Spanish. There's predominantly Spanish, right? So I moved there for a little bit, and I met this producer named Stacks. Stacks on the beat. He's actually pretty. He has a decent following on YouTube. You know, production pages and things like that. And I told him I wanted to redo Whoa, and he made it for me. Right, he made it right in front of me. And then like 2 days later, China Mac had just got released from prison.
Wow.
And we knew we had a mutual friend from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. And I you know, honestly, I name dropped. I said, hey, I'm homies with this dude, you know, and I like your story. I like what you've been doing.
Yeah.
I'm doing a record with Fred the Godson, and I would like you on it. Send it to him. China Mac sent me his verse back in like a week.
Wow.
Fresh home from prison. Then I got Fred on it. That was nothing. That was just an email. And so I'm home one day, and I have a cousin. His name is Hot Waters. I don't know. He's a radio personality. He was Steph Lover's like co-host on DTF Radio. This was a thing in New York back in the day. I think it still is. And he says, hey, I'm in the studio with Black Rob, and I just showed him that song, and he wants to get on it. So long story short, so I'm like driving. I'm on my way home. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, what does he want? Because I already, you know, I know the game. So he said $1,000. I was like, said, hold on, I'm gonna call you back in 10 minutes. So I'm very good with, you know, I used to save a lot of money and things. So I go home. I had about like $800. I called him back. I said, hey, I got 800 right now. I heard a mumble in the background. He said, come on. Jumped back in my car, went to the studio on 178th and Park Avenue in the Bronx. Umbrella Studios. They're still around. Shout out to Cover. He's a big producer in New York City right now. He's responsible for a lot of Dice Peso and a lot of Jim Jones stuff right now. But by the time I got there, it took me about 30 minutes between trying to find parking and going to the store. And by the time I got there, his verse was done. So he heard the song, and within 30 minutes of me driving and parking, Like Whoa was done. And that's crazy.
That's so crazy, because it's such like a, you know, in hip hop, it's like such an iconic anthem. Yeah. And for the magic to happen, like the way you connected the dots between like relationships you had, you know, Fred the Godson, your cousin, your other friend that connected with China, that's all like working.
That's the beauty of networking. Some people have to like let their ego go, man. You know, you just got to be a nice person, talk to people. Yeah. You know, old school ways still exist. Yeah. Actually talking to people, shaking somebody's hand, things like that. People don't do that anymore. They send messages, DMs,
I think that what you're talking about right there, that skill set is going to increasingly have so much value, because it's decreasing in you know, how much we see it. We don't see that, you know. Like, I work on this with my kids all the time. They're like just on their phone. I'm like, yo, put it down for like a second. There's really smart people, like the smartest people hired all over the world to design that joint to like keep you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Effort. You know what I'm saying?
Fall into the wormhole.
It's smart.
It happens to me all the time.
Bro, they know what you want. They know what you like. They give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so you gotta learn to like communicate with people. Those soft skills are so incredibly important. That's really amazing how you brought that whole thing together, man.
Yeah, I mean it took me a year to actually, because I had the record with Fred and China Mac on it already, and I was getting ready to put it was weird. It was a year process, but it all kind of happened by accident. Like the China Mac was just a message. Yeah. Fred was, you know, that was gonna get done anyway. Yeah. And Black Rob thing was just chance. Like, he was in the Bronx that day.
That's what
I was in the Bronx.
Call synchronicity,
right?
You know what I'm saying? When the things come together, but they wouldn't have come together if everybody didn't do their part. You know what I'm saying? It's just pow. You know, for the people who don't know, who are unfamiliar with New York City, the Bronx, and your story, there's a neighborhood that you always shout out. It's the neighborhood you came up in.
Yeah,
Like, can you talk to us about it? Yeah.
yeah, Tremont Ave. You know, that's honestly, it's just what it was a fun place, man. It's a predominantly Puerto Rican, Jamaican neighborhood, so you know, music was always playing everywhere.
Yeah.
I want to say people from the islands are very more, they're more welcoming.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had the same friends. I've had friends for 35 years.
Yeah.
You know, like that I still talk to. You know, and Tremont to me was it had its moments. There were times where it was really bad. You know, obviously drugs and everything take over, but throughout growing up, it was honestly I loved it. You know,
Yeah.
you get into your situations, but you know what? That's the stuff that makes you that prepares you to take on life. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Now,
But
Trayvon,
yeah,
what part of the Bronx is that in? Is that in the South
it's
Bronx?
in the South Bronx. Where it's East Tremont. We're like the main vein. Like if you were looking at a compass and
Yeah.
you go from east to west, that's Tremont Avenue. It goes all the way from Riverside, Riverside Drive, all the way to Throgs Neck to the East River. You know, it's the main vein, and it's a very active place. You know, it's a strip. There's stores everywhere. You know, it's an active place. Like Tremont, there's hundreds of thousands of people walking all day.
That's dope, man.
You see all types of different people.
You got you've got like anybody who kind of follows your discography, your Instagram, your videos, right? You got a lot of artwork on your body, but you got one on the back of your head. Can you talk to us about that?
That's Tremont Avenue. So you know, that's literally that's Tremont Avenue, and that's the view from the corner of my. If I look left, you'll see my building. That's Tremont Avenue going towards Southern Boulevard in the Bronx. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's everything that I do. It's my clothing line. It's what made me a rapper. It's everything for me. Even though I'm staying in Florida now and I travel throughout the United States, but it's just it's who I am. Like that I'm Tremont Avenue. You know, I grew up with French Montana. Me, Fred, French. We all know each other. Me and French went to junior high school together.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But again, I don't hear everybody. I don't hear any. You know how like you hear these Brooklyn rappers or the Queens rappers talking about Queensbridge or this or that or you know Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, Flatbush, you know Brownsville. Nobody actually ever really talks about Tremont.
That's crazy to me because for me, like as a non-New Yorker, right? So I'm originally from DC. I'm out in LA now. For me, the Bronx is like the most iconic place because it's the birthplace of hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yo, you gotta be like the Bronx is tough. I mean, that's just like it's not Manhattan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know?
Sure. Manhattan was going to Manhattan was like an outing for me as a child. Like going to Manhattan was like going to a different world.
Yeah.
It was completely different. I didn't even and this is no shot at nobody, but I didn't even know that many white people existed.
Yeah,
when
exactly. You thought everything looked like the
like,
way it did around the neighborhood.
Yeah, the only white people in my neighborhood were the cops and teachers.
Yeah.
So like it was weird. It was like this was as a child. You know, when you get older, it becomes a normal thing. But as a child, to leave the Bronx and go to Manhattan was like literally going to a different state.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. The artwork. Who did the tattoo in the back?
Oh, the tattoo on my head was done by Legion Aveno. He's the owner of Fallen Sparrow Tattoos in Kissimmee, Florida.
Okay.
He's a good friend of mine. We worked together. I watched him come up as an apprentice in a tattoo shop. I used to work in tattoo shops for many years. I watched him come up as an apprentice, and now he's like one of the best artists in the state of Florida.
Yeah, because you gotta trust somebody. You gotta trust somebody.
Oh,
period. You gotta trust somebody on you. You know what I'm saying? On your
sure. For sure. There was only two artists that I would ever let tattoo me on from the neck up, and that was either Legion or my other partner, Spooks Hoya Tattoos. He's also out here. They actually came up together.
That's dope. You know, like for cats that don't know, right? There's a connection between New York and Florida, right? That New York Orlando, that New York Miami connect is a thing, right?
It's a real
Can you talk to us
thing.
about like when you moved there and like, you know, that connection between New York and Orlando, New York and Miami?
Oh man, when I got here, I thought I was gonna be an outsider. I got here in '05, and that really wasn't the case. There was times I would drive somewhere and I'd see people from the Bronx walking up
Right,
the
you're like,
street
yo, you
that
out
I
here
knew.
too?
I'm like, oh, like that's where they've been.
That's
You know, this is everything. Florida and New York are connected so crazy. Even the Yankees play here in their off season in Tampa. You know,
wow.
like Tampa plays. I mean, Yankees play here in the off season. They practice here. Even the teams are connected. You know,
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I just saw DJ Dowtone in here, and I think this is a good moment to like make that segue.
let's
Right?
go.
You know, we talked about No Drums 2. It's available on all streaming platforms.
Yes,
it just dropped. But you got some more work coming. Can
Oh
you share
yeah.
with us what you can about the work you got coming with Team Demo?
Well, Team Demo, first off, they're legendary in the game. And, you know, it's a shame that producers like that aren't more in the forefront, you know, like where their names aren't being spoken as much as like a Hit Boy or, you know, all these people.
That's right.
But let me tell you, son, the album I got with Team Demo, it's in the mixing process right now. It's done. The album's been done for a little bit. It's 12 to 13 records. We're doing an album, not an EP.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. The production is crazy. The name of the album is called Back to the Block. I always try to, for the most part, a lot of my album titles, you know, go hand in hand with my name. But yeah, Back to the Block, and we got some. I mean, it took me back. I felt like a teenager again recording that album.
Yeah, real hip hop.
It was fun. It was active. Every time I got a new beat, I was excited. It took me back to the open mic days. And we got some heavy records. I got some decent features on there. It's gonna be crazy, you know. I'm very happy for this one.
The Back to the Block. Do you think it's gonna be like a summer release? Is it a fall release? Is that to be determined?
I'm hoping it's like a fall release, fall maybe going into winter. People are indoors. That'll give me a good chance to go do a lot of shows and things like that. You know, once it gets in Florida, it gets 50 degrees. They're wearing jackets. They want to be inside.
Yeah.
So you know, I feel like that'll be a good time to drop, going into fall, going into winter, and I can get indoors and start getting some of these shows going.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
But yeah, hold up. Shout out to before we do that, I want to shout out Benny Blanco. He's a good friend of mine's. Low Life Orlando, and he's the one who connected me with them, and I just want to shout him out. He made that plug happen for me, and it was a good thing. Good things are to come because of that. So shout out to Benny Blanco.
Can you unpack that a little bit? So Benny Blanco connected y'all. How did that happen?
Well, Benny Blanco is just one of them quiet guys that seems to know everybody. So, you know, doesn't speak much, and he's me and him are friends for 18 years. He's always been supported my music from when I first moved here to Florida, and he got into some situations where he was helping some artists. Maybe let's say he was curating some music, and got me a feature here and there. And these guys turned around and said, "Who's that?" And he said, "Yo, that's Block. He's a dope artist." And he basically vouched for me on that one. And I didn't disappoint them. You know, I ain't make them look bad. They sent me that sometimes. They'll send me a record at 12 noon. They'll have it fully mixed and done by like 5 p.m. You know.
Yeah. That's dope.
So the turnaround time was good, and you know, because of him, he's put me in a lot of good situations. And only way I could think of to thank him is going hard and popping off. So maybe I could return the favor later.
Yeah, man. That's the way you do it. Yeah, that's dope. The Team Demo album, we talked about that coming out soon. It's in the mixing process.
Yes.
Back to the Block. Is it Back to the Block or Back on the Block?
No, Back to the Block. Back
to the Block. I think everybody who's ever listened to your music and that's ever listened to Team Demo can't wait for that collaboration.
It's exciting, man.
That's gonna be dope. Is that what's dropping next, or is there something else coming out before that?
No, I'm shooting for that to be next. I have an album that I don't know if it's an EP. It definitely has more than 7 songs, but I don't know if we're gonna go like the full 12 or.
Yeah.
But I have a project dropping with Toast 187.
Yeah.
Uh, he's uh, he's also a big name. I believe him and Team Demo know each other.
Yeah.
And that one's actually done. We haven't mixed it yet, but it's that one's done too. I have 3 albums ready to go.
You say
I have
3 more? Like you got these 2 and another one, or inclusive?
I got well, Back to the Block. I have the Toast Johnson album. I just dropped No Drums 2, which I recorded in a month. And me and Ali Alto, who produced No Drums 2, we have an album done, 13 songs called The Block Report. And
yo,
and that
2024 is your year.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to let go. You know, I'm ready
Yeah.
to let everything go, and we got a lot of videos going. Shout out to my boy Robbie just does it. You know, Rob Cleveland. He's been shooting all my videos, and shout out to Hip Hop on the Gram. He's been helping us with everything also.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Hip Hop on the Gram actually like sent your information to me also, right? And he's been super supportive in the promotion of this. Can you talk to us about that relationship you have with Hip Hop on the Gram?
I've known him. His name is Kenny156, and I've known him about what 12, 13 years now. 12, 13 years now. He's right there, sitting right there. You know,
like literally
hold
right
on.
hand man.
Let's bring him in
right
real
hand
quick.
man.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? So that's the infamous Hip Hop on the Gram. Everybody in my circle knows him. They might not know his face, but he supports everybody that has anything to do with what we're doing in our circle. All the other artists, all the interviewers, like even you. Like I said, he showed me who you were, and you know, we connected like that. And he's been very instrumental in my music journey for the. He's always been there, but the past 2 years we locked in and said, "Yo, this is what we're gonna do."
Yeah, people like that, my bro, are so special. They're unique too. They're not common.
Nah,
you know what I'm saying?
He doesn't rap. He doesn't produce. He engineers.
Yeah.
He helps. Like he does. If it's something I can't do, he'll get to it.
That's so good, man.
And make it happen for sure.
Superior dot connector.
Oh, for sure. And he's not shy. When we go out, he definitely networks. You know, like you ever seen the show How I Met Your Mother? He's like, have you met Ted? You know, like Hip Hop on the Gram is like, have you met Block? You know, like he's one of those guys.
Yeah, man, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah. And we
I wanted to ask you. Yeah.
And we were ultimately connected because he comes from Fred's block. They lived across the street from each other.
Wow.
And then after that, Fred moves to my block, and we're across the street from each other. And we met later.
Yeah.
And we met through mutual friends here in Florida.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I knew his brother before I knew him in New York.
Wow.
Yeah. Everybody connected.
Yeah, that's family. I wanted to ask you about a movie called The Bully and your acting career, right? Because you're like how Common has a line where he's like, I'm not just a rapper, I'm an actor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Like
so. That is actually the guy who's in charge of all that. His name is Alex Hugo. Alex Hugo Films is the name of his company. He's the guy who actually taught me how to rap. He used to be a rapper, and he's the one who took me to the studio my first time when I was 14. He's family to me. He's my son's godfather. Wow. And he got into the movie thing, and he actually did a series first. It's all on Tubi. We have one movie on Amazon Prime. But I'm also a part of the series, like the internet series, and even in the series there was a gang called the Tremont Boys. So that whole first series was pretty much shot in my neighborhood, Tremont Ave, Marmion Ave,
what's the series
everywhere. It's called Bully: The Rise of Two Kings.
Okay. And
then that spanned into 2 movies. So one is a storyline about one cop, and the other the last one that I was in was a storyline about the main character, Rico, who is Alex Hugo. He starred, directed, shot his own movie, and he's actually the guy who put a pen in my hand. So I owe him a lot. And he always, whenever he's doing a new movie, he always asks me if I want a part in it. Uh, all my music is all through all his movies. Any internet webisode, movie, series, my music is all through there.
That's dope, man. Shout out Alex Hugo.
Word.
Yeah.
That's my brother right there.
Yeah. What a special person in your life, and what a dope creative that kind of like, you know, is helping other people get to the level that you've gotten to. Have you thought about being in any future movies? Do you like acting? Did you like it?
It's fun. We're just half of the time we're just laughing and joking on his sets. And I was supposed to be in this last movie called Big Italy, but I had so much going on here in Florida with music, I just couldn't really. I couldn't take the time to go out. I would have to probably go for like 2.
Right.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me a second. So yeah. Sorry, I had to. My charger was moving.
No problem, my bro.
But huh? Cozy. Oh, shout out to Cozy from Team Demo. He's in here also.
Shout out Jay Cosell. Shout out Team Demo.
Word. So yeah, but nah, he's I was supposed to be in that movie, and it's gonna be good. It's probably his best one yet. I wish I could have made it for that one, but there's always, you know, timing is everything, you know.
Yeah. I feel like it's such a natural segue for a lot of artists, especially artists that are comfortable in front of the camera. They've done a lot of video work. They've got outgoing personalities. You got a very outgoing personality to be in front of the camera and be in movies. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a real natural thing.
It's harder than the key to acting is trying not to look at the camera. That's you know, when I first started trying it out, that was probably the hardest thing, not actually like looking at the camera, you know, like while you're doing it. But once you're around it enough, you kind of catch it, and you just make sure the easiest way is just to make eye contact with the person in front of you and don't look away from them.
Right. Deliver your lines.
Yep.
That's dope. Now, you mentioned that you had some video work going. You got the new Drums 2 that just dropped. You've got 3 other albums in the tuck, the one with Team Demo, and, you know, you got an amazing summer, fall, and potentially winter coming. You got something for every season, basically, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much,
sure.
right?
I do. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, I could kind of drop
do
that
it like
way if I wanted to. Yeah.
Talk to us about the video work, whatever you can share, right, that you've been working on, and kind of like what you're planning. Is there going to be a video for the new No Drums 2?
Yeah, so I'm gonna take some time and go work in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Shout out to one of the homies out there, Kingdom Come. He's a dope artist.
I know Kingdom Come. Yeah.
So he's out there, and we already spoke, locked in. I'll have full access to his studio and full access to his video guys. So when I'm out there, I'm gonna shoot a lot of the No Drums 2 out there, just to give it that. I don't want to give it the cliche. I don't want to give it the cliche, like, you know, hood visuals. Like, I'm gonna be in the mountains. Yeah. Like, No Drums 2, I feel like that's where that album is. I love that album. Hip Hop on the Gram says it's my best work ever. I love the album, and I feel like it deserves better scenery. So I'm gonna shoot most of the singles for that in Asheville, North Carolina, and we actually just shot, not to shy away from No Drums 2, but I have a single out with Straight Paper. Yeah. I don't know if you ever heard of Straight Paper.
Yes.
We have a new single out called Line for Line. The song is crazy. We recorded it 2 weeks ago. It's already up on all digital platforms, and we just shot the music video for it yesterday at a place in Orlando called the Commission Beer Chamber.
Yeah.
Shout out to
the hip hop beer spot in Orlando.
Yep. And shout out to Benny from the Beer Commission. He looked out for us and let us use the spot. Didn't charge us, and made sure he texted all his employees and said, make sure you give them whatever they need.
That's dope.
But
that video was shot yesterday.
That was shot yesterday. That was shot.
That was gonna be dropping in soon.
Hopefully well, I told my guy to take his time because I want the video to look as good as the song sounds, if that makes sense, you know. So
Absolutely. That's
shout out to
dope.
Straight Paper.
Shout out Straight Paper. Shout out Benny. And you know,
Thanks.
to unpack the Kingdom Come, right? He's been mad. He's been mad. You know, he's been working, right? He's got a video coming like every couple weeks, right? His music is always quality. I know you're not going to North Carolina and not doing some music with Kingdom
Oh,
Come,
we're locking in for sure. I'm gonna
right?
be working out of his studio, so it's definitely gonna happen.
Like,
I'm looking forward to that.
you got 3 albums in the tuck. It's not created yet, but you might have 4 albums in the tuck. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be there for a couple months, so we might be able to knock out a little EP. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's
Well,
really, really dope.
Fingers crossed. I like him. He's a good dude. You know, he always shows love, and he made sure he let me know that he had me when I was over there. Like he'll hold me down.
Yeah, that's dope, my man. I recently had Elo Kush on the show.
Elo Kush.
Yeah. He's got a track on No Drums too. Can you talk to us about your relationship with him and how that track came together?
So I met him at the Low Life Barbecue here in Orlando. Shout out to the Orlando Low Lives, the Low Zone. We were there. I was one of the people helping set up the barbecue. So I was there a lot earlier than everybody else. And when he showed up, you know, he walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, is there a store walking distance?" But there, it was, you know, it kind of was, but it wasn't. And I was like, "What are you trying to do?"
It's Florida, right?
Yeah,
it's not New York.
Yeah, it's not
Florida.
like New York and Jersey where you can walk, turn the corner, and you're right there. So, I was running around still. So then I had to move my car. And as I was moving my car, I saw them still trying to figure it out. And I said, "Hey, come on! I'll take you to the liquor store. I'll take you wherever you got to go." I just met him 5 minutes before,
cool.
But I knew he was if he was there at that barbecue, then I know he's a good dude. You know, like anybody who was there, good people. So, and I'm driving. I'm telling him about the city. I start playing No Drums too.
You didn't know he was an MC. You didn't know he was Elo Kush.
I did not know. I was just being being a kind guy and say, "Yo, here, I'll take you to the store. You're not from here. Come on, I got you." So I started by the time we get to the liquor store, they're like, "Oh man, you know." So when we're on our way back to the barbecue, I said, "Hey, I got a beat," but then he tells me, "Yeah, I rap and all this," and you know, again, I didn't know what he sounded like, anything. I just felt the energy. It was good energy. Like
crazy.
you could tell. You could tell he was doing something. You know, he always got his shades on. You know, some real fly guy shit. You know, so I'm like, all right. I said, "Yo, I got this beat," and I played it for him. It's the original sample from 24 Hours to Live. I think it was like Mace and a bunch of people on it. It was the original sample from that record, and of course, it had no drums on it. And and then that day we chopped it up, we took pictures, we spoke, and then after that he left, and he said, "Yeah, I think maybe less than 48 hours, I had him and Glorious's verse back, laid down my verse. I got their verses back before I even wrote my verse. Like they sent it back that quick, and I recorded my verse, and then I brought a friend out. His name is Gems Montesino. He played a big part of the underground rap scene here in Orlando for many, many years, and he's a good friend of mine. And that's actually how I met Hip Hop on the Gram.
Wow.
Through him, and I said, "Yo, I want you to come back for one, man. You know, like, let's do this." I got the 2 homies from Jersey. It'll be me and you. We both from the Bronx.
Yeah.
And,
go off the dust, jump on this joint.
Yeah, and he did his thing. He came back strong.
Dope, man. That's a good story too. It's amazing how you met Elo Kush and the fact that he's such an established MC in his own right. You know what I'm saying?
I discovered after I met him, I just, you obviously
you start
looked him up on
figuring out who he is.
Then I started looking up his videos on YouTube, and I'm like, holy shit, who did I just meet? You know, like, I'm like, yo, who the hell did I just meet?
Yeah.
He had songs with features, videos with Ransom. I love Ransom is one of my favorites from Jersey as far as rap goes. And I just saw all this, and I was just like, man, I met. Being, you know, when you're a good person and you do things, you see what happens. Like good things happen when you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring that good energy back to you, you know.
Yeah, and
And
you guys
it worked
connected
out.
so organically,
It was
right?
easy. It was easy. He sent me his verse and Glorious's verse, and I mixed them because I do all the mix. I mixed this entire album. Me and Hip Hop on the Gram mixed this entire album,
That's
and
dope.
sent it. And yeah, and we had a couple days just going back and forth fixing levels, and yeah, man, it came out. I'm very happy with the record.
Yeah,
For sure.
that's dope, man. You know, I think that you can't be in hip hop and not hear about continually, you know, like the low life barbecue in Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening also like in Miami. There's obviously events in New York. Can you talk to us about what it's like to attend one of those events, what the vibe is like, and the hip hop, you know, on top of the low life aspect, the hip hop, you know, aspect
Yeah.
of it, and the amount of artists, because there's so many creatives, right?
So many. So Orlando, I guess, you know, Orlando Low Lives, you know, it's, for me, it's more of a, it's literally like it's almost like it's like a Big Brother program.
Yeah.
So much knowledge from all these dudes. Shout out to the president of the Orlando Low Lives, Big Earl,
Yeah.
who was actually he was a road manager for Das Effects. He was a road manager for Big Pun. And he was an ambassador for Puma. Like, he was in charge of putting Puma on superstars like Missy, for example, which he did. And he also does a lot of community work. He knows the mayor of the city, you know, like he does things for the they you know they do things for the children, baseball teams, events, bike drives. And they're big on giving back to the kids. And honestly, my kids are grown now. You know, I have a son who's 21 and a daughter who's 18. And, you know, it feels good. Like, you know, I go with them and I help them volunteer, cleaning up the baseball field, laying down mulch. And, you know, it's a good feeling to help other people out, you know. And he's so dedicated to it. It makes you motivated to want to do it, too. So shout out to Big Earl Low, all of the Low Lives. It's just a family thing. Like, when I go to these barbecues, I swear to God, I feel like I'm in I'm in an area full of just a bunch of big brothers. Everybody got something smart to say. Everybody has useful knowledge.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are just, you know, fun people to be around, you know.
Yeah, dope
individuals. I'm happy to even be in the, you know, in the vicinity of these people. Like, they're good people. I'm happy to be a part of it. But if I wasn't, I'd still hang out with them because they're just good people.
Yeah. Talk to us about the shows, right? Because they put on, because at the events, they like often have like shows with, and you look at the lineup, I mean, it's a big hip hop show. Like, it's, and any other, you know, if you were to separate it from it being a low life event, it would still be a dope headlining event. Show anywhere in the world.
It would still be a dope event, even if it wasn't that. They normally do like 3-day things. So like, it'll be a Friday where they do like the meet and greet and things, you know, like you can go meet Smith & Wesson, hang out at, you know, the Commission Beer Chamber and go meet Smith & Wesson, you know, go meet Doo-Wop, go meet Large Pro, go meet Thurston Howell, you know, he's always around the city. And to you know, people are so excited to meet Thurston. He's a legend, you know, and all these other artists come. And then Saturday is always a show, you know, the show with everybody who's hot in the city. People travel from all around the world. They have people coming from our Low Lives, people who support Low Lives coming from Australia just to come to a show. And then Sunday is always a barbecue, you know. It's like their shows are a 3-day thing all the time. Wow. It's a real big thing. I love it. It makes people happy. It makes a lot of people smile. They all help each other, and I'm happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, like, you know, like hip hop when it started out, like the 4 elements. When I was a kid, I really came into hip hop through breakdancing. You know what I'm saying? That's how it started out.
I tried that. I tried that back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
It wasn't my lane.
And I kind of went through all of the things, right? I had my era as a DJ and as a graffiti artist, you know what I'm saying, and rhyming. And I think the fashion, though, is in the whole style of hip hop has had a tremendous impact on the world.
Yes.
And I think that, I think that the low life culture, right, and these events really helps to kind of put some focus on that in a way that you know what I'm saying is beautiful.
It's like it's letting them know that this sound, that this part of the culture is still here. Like I love, like, you'd be surprised what I listen to in my car. I'm not listening to underground rap in my car. I'm listening to Young Boy this, Little this. I like the new music. You wouldn't even think that I rap the way I rap. If you sat in my car and listened to music with me, you wouldn't think that I rap the way I rap. I listen to everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like the like, even what Low Life is doing here in Orlando, it's giving it a hip hop scene, and it's happening really, really fast. I'm talking about fast. It's been like 3 years. They're like, any show they do is probably the best show of the night in the city.
That's dope. That's dope. You have such an extensive discography. And when we first opened up the show, we talked about early on how you were signed to Murder Inc., worked with the Ruff Ryders, worked with so many artists, Shine, Wiz Khalifa, T-Pain, right? You know what I'm saying? We talked about all these different artists that you've worked with. Can you talk to us about what your creative process is like? You get a beat, the beat is fire, you get like a team demo beat, the beat's crazy. What's it like for you? How do you create? What's that process like for you?
First off, I've had sometimes I have a beat for a year before it actually hits me.
Yeah.
But like with these team demo beats and the Toast Johnson beats, I've been so active, it's now just becoming second nature. So like the team demo project, I would write all the verses first. So I write my verses first. If it's 2 verses, I'll get those out. And what I do is me and Hip Hop on the Gram will sit here and we'll listen to that, and then the hook could just pop into my head. I listen to the verses, and the verses give me what the hook should be, which I know some people write the hook first, and so then they can write with what they're talking about on the hook.
Yeah.
But me, I like to get my creative process is fast. Like I write a full song in 45 minutes.
Wow.
And 2 20-bar verses or 2 16s or whatever it is, I'm quick, and then I'll do the hook after. I don't know, I've seen so many people work differently, but that's just my process. For some reason, I always get the verses out. Like the beat tells me what I should be talking about, and then I follow that. I follow my verses with the hook.
Good, man. When you write, how do you do it? Do you do it on your phone, or pen, paper, and your head?
I do it like I normally, like, I will be here. We're actually in the studio now where we work at.
Stuff in the background.
Yeah, that's our vintage wall,
Yeah.
But I pace. Might have a drink, pace back and forth. By the time I sit down, I'll probably already have 8 bars in my head, and then from there I just kind of go. But I do write in my phone. I'm part of the newer generation that writes in their phone. I confess.
It's always with you.
It's convenient. I don't got to carry around a notebook, a pen. So I write in my notes for sure.
That's good, man. That's good. So you were talking about you write them relatively quickly, but now that you've been so active, it's like a muscle.
It just happens. Honestly, we joke around. Shout out to Ali Alto, the guy who produced No Drums too. Many years ago, I asked him. I said, yo, where do you come up with the ideas for these beats? And he said, I don't make these beats. God makes them. Right?
Yeah, like they're downloaded into them.
Yeah, and I always thought that was super funny. I'm like,
yeah.
But then somebody asked me, and I really, I was telling Kenny this, Hip Hop on the Gram. I was telling him this the other day. Like, the beat just talks to me sometimes. I have to listen to the verse before I completely understand what I just did. It just comes out. It just spews out. I'll start writing. And then I hit the mic, and I just let it go. And then I'll have to, as I'm mixing, I'm like listening to this as I'm mixing. So now I joke around with him when he says it. I'm like, I ain't write these verses. God wrote them, just as a joke, because realistically, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know how I keep finding words. I don't. It just
It's almost like a little bit of like a stream of consciousness. Like it's just
and I don't want that to sound like corny, but it really I don't. I come to the studio. I don't write at home. Like I don't sit home and write. Every song I've ever recorded was on the spot here. Like we load up the beat, we play the beat for 30, 40 minutes, and then we're on the mic. So I don't like sit home and continuously write. I write when I get to the studio. I clock in, I do what I'm supposed to do, and as soon as Kenny say it's time to go home, I go home. Yeah,
that's dope, man. That's
it
dope.
Really is. I know it sounds corny, but it really just happens. I don't have no explanation. Many years ago, I would break my head to really think, to try to have the hardest bars, and I would really break my brain. Now at this point, it just kind of spews out, honestly.
Yeah. Well, what's really interesting is
thank you, J Money.
You're super talented, bro. Your voice and your delivery have so much passion and hunger in it. You know what I'm saying? I could hear it. People could feel it. It's one of the things that's so dope about your music is that it feels authentic. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about oftentimes personal things that are hard.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in certain circumstances, not having the presence of a father. I think a lot of men, I could relate to that. A lot of men could relate to that. You move through, you've had, we've talked about so many close friends that have passed away, people that have been incarcerated. Like you move through very emotional topics easily because they've been a part of your life, and it comes through in your songs.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about that?
So those songs are always the songs that I write the fastest. Those are easy for me to write. Again, like I said, my childhood, I loved my neighborhood. It was fun, but we were really poor. Like this isn't like the cliche rapper. Like no, like check. If you do your history of where I'm from and what it used to be like in the 80s and the 90s, we were really poor. It was 10 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment. Yeah. It grew to 10. Yeah. But it was, me, my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, her 2 daughters, my twin uncles. Yeah. Then my brother was born. Then another baby was born. Like, we lived really hard. Like, we used to, we had to portion it out. So many people. Yeah. It was a real thing. And again, I think that's what makes it easy for me to live life now. Like, there's everybody goes through it. There's times where I have money. There's times when I don't have money. There's times it just that life makes it easier for me to be happy even when I shouldn't be. Like I know what I came from. I've seen the things I've seen. I've seen people, dead on the floor. Like it's and it just I feel like it prepared me for life, and I think that's why I don't really have room to be angry anymore. It rarely happens. I don't even get road rage. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Nothing. Like I'm an easygoing guy. If I can help you, I'll help you. If I can't, I can't. And I just so that I feel like that upbringing made my life easier. So some people talk about it and glorify it. I think it helped me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting idea called, people always talk about IQ and EQ, emotional intelligence. And I heard this dope concept of adversity, like IQ is intelligence quotient, EQ is emotional intelligence quotient. Adversity quotient has been shown through studies to be the single most determining factor in a person's success.
Yeah.
Because you could be super smart, you could get along with people real well, but if you can't handle hard times, if you want to tap out as soon as they grab you in a chokehold, you ain't gonna make it. Yeah. You're gonna be in some chokehold sometimes in life. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people would have given up. Like if I'm speaking from my perspective, like a lot of people that I know now, especially, and no shot at the younger people, but life has been a lot easier for them. And some of the things I've been through, some of these kids nowadays would probably kill themselves, honestly. Yeah, like, because suicide is such a, crazy. It's a sad thing, but it's a real thing.
It is.
If they went through half of the stuff that and I wasn't even the most worst off person in my neighborhood. There were people who were doing worse than me and my family. Yeah. So it just made, everybody needs a little tough love. If you can't handle it, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, that's good, bro.
It's gonna be a long.
All that.
Yeah, and shout out to my family. They are, shout out to my mom. Rest in peace to my pops. Shout out to my 3 brothers. Actually, my brother Kevin Tex. He's a R&B singer out of Waterbury, Connecticut. He's doing really good right now, and shout out to him too. He mixed and mastered a lot of my early work. A lot of those albums you were listening to, he was the one who mixed and mastered them for me.
Dope, man. That's dope. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. It really gives a lot of context to the authenticity in your voice and in your lyrics that the listener can feel. It's like, oh, this cat is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can hear the hunger and the passion in his voice, and that's the impact that had on me. And I'm hip hop. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love hip hop. I listen to hip hop all day long, and that comes across. It translates in your recordings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's the place where I can let it all out. As like cliche again. I don't want, because so many rappers say that, but like I really have I let out a lot of pain through my music, which allows me to continue walking around smiling and laughing and joking with people.
That's good, bro. No Drums 2.
No Drums
out
2.
Everywhere right now.
Everywhere right now.
Right? We talked about 3 albums in the tuck. 1 with Team Demo coming next, right? Back on the block. If people want to get that work, if they want to connect with you, if they want to send you beats, if they want to purchase a verse, what's the right way to go about doing business with Block Forever?
Honestly, just hit me up on Instagram. That's where I'm most active.
Yeah.
If the situation is right, the vibe is right, shit, I'll send you my number. You can you can text me. Email. My email's in my email's in my bio. I mean, but if people don't find it, I can send it to you. Just really IG is where I'm most active. I have all other platforms like TikTok and Twitter, but IG just feels more comfortable for me. Yeah. So I'm very active on IG. I respond to everybody. Every comment ever made on one of my posts, whether it's good or bad, I respond to it in a positive way. So I'm always reachable on Instagram, block_forever, for sure.
That's dope, my brother. It's an honor to have you on the show. No Drums 2 is dope. I said something in the write-up and at the beginning of this, and I meant it. There's a current renaissance happening in hip-hop where, like, there's so much talent, so much incredible music, and you, my bro, are a big part of that.
Thank you.
Your voice, your delivery. I can't wait to hear the joint with Team Demo. You're going to have an amazing 2024, and we're all waiting, my bro.
Shout out to, he's in the comments right now. Shout out to MI Nice. He sent me like 15 beats. He's a dope artist, producer. He's based in Orlando right now, and we might have something by the end of the year done too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to also, before we sign off, I want to shout out the only other feature on No Drums 2. He's a brother to my brother, so that makes him my brother, Frank Myth.
Yeah.
He's on number 3? It's called Either Or. He's from Waterbury, Connecticut also. And shout out to him. And my real brother ain't on the album. On No Drums 2? Oh, yeah. Man, I almost forgot. Shout out to my brother Mitchie Gustavo. I don't know if you heard the skit. The phone skit.
The phone skit.
That's my other biological brother. He's actually down right now doing 3 years. So he called me from where he's at, and I told him, I said, look, I'm gonna put you on the album over the phone, and I'm gonna register the album on JPay, so he can download it where he's at and show all his people in there.
Oh. Yeah, you mentioned that in one of your verses. Like, my brother's doing a bit. He hits me every day. He hits me on my line every day. You mentioned that in your song.
Yeah, that's him. That's actually him on the beginning of the song talking to me over the phone.
Dope, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So shout out to them, and yeah, man, I hope everybody just go out and go get that No Drums 2, whether you stream it. If you can't buy it, hit me up and I'll email you the album for free. It doesn't even matter. I just want to change the game. I want to make. I tried to make. You know, my goal was to make something different, and I feel like I accomplished that. And shout out to everybody who loves it. If you don't, I got another one coming soon.
There you go, my brother. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate you so much. We'll run it back in the future.
And they don't know.
They all know.
Hey. We didn't. He said we spoke before this to make sure we were.
It's organic. Because
organic.
I like the European polos. I like the joints that are hard to find.
First off, your polo game is crazy. I've watched your interviews, and you always got on a tough shirt, man. Always.
I appreciate you, my bro. I really like them hard to find joints. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but today I needed to come crispy.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said, yo, hold on. I said, Cristopolis always got on the tee, so I had to put on the, the polo real quick for him.
Yeah, that's what's up, my brother. Hey, it's an honor, man. I'm gonna send you my number after this so we can continue building, and we'll run it back sometime in the future.
Definitely. We definitely got to run it back when that Back to the Block drop. Shout out to Team Demo. Shout out to Benny Blanco. Shout out to Hip Hop on the Gram. Shout out to Straight Paper, Thurston Howell, the whole Low Zone. We out here.
Yeah, for the my brother. Salute.
Thank you, man. Salute.